Hello, Pong Stars, and welcome to the Rathole. This is, of course, episode 2 of season 2 of our new coverage here at Pong Star Studios. My co-host today is Drew Mahowald.
That's me. Yeah. Thanks for having me on, Mr. Commissioner Zack Eichten. Congratulations, by the way, on your victory in the election.
Yeah, it was a bit closer than I wanted. Ended up losing 2 votes. I was anticipating losing 0.
By the way, I should ask you, do you look at the people? So you did have access to the actual votes. So do you look at the people who didn't vote for you differently now after the election?
That's a great question. I don't. I actually didn't look at who voted for who. It was just abundantly obvious based off of the response.
Yes.
I think anybody could look and say who voted.
So we don't know for sure, but it's alleged,
Yes.
It's allegedly this person voted for Thomas,
the tight end Strawn. Yeah.
And Sam Olson.
So I think we can all pretty much infer what we want to, but
fair enough.
No, I don't actually look at the votes. The only time I've ever had to look at the votes is sometimes when you guys fill out your forms, if you don't click out of the form link after you're done, when you open up your Safari on your phone again, it'll resubmit it. So I have to go through and delete duplicate votes. So that's the only time I do have to look, when it's like when I have 3 votes.
Open up the form.
I have 3 votes from Josh Palingo, and I'm like, well, there's no way that was intentional, and I go through and delete the duplicates. So yeah, that's the only time I have to look.
Fair enough.
Usually I don't.
But yeah. All right.
No, it's good.
Big time election. That was huge.
Yeah, no, it was good content. I thought that the questions were tough but fair. Most of the ways.
Of course they were.
So congratulations to you on a well done job moderating.
Sure.
Yeah. Looking back, I don't know why I was so nonchalant coming into it. It was a lot tougher than I anticipated.
Yeah, well, I mean, you gotta, this is a big deal. This is the Pong Stars Football League. I'm not just gonna willy-nilly, moderate this, the debate for commissioner. This is not just gonna take it easy here.
I'm just remembering back when I moderated the assistant commissioner debate, and my question was literally like, what are your thoughts on healthcare? That's kind of what I thought we were going to get. And then I was like, Keepergate, Tradegate, other controversial takes that you've had.
Well, I guess maybe that's a reflection of how much, the responsibilities of the assistant commissioner versus the commissioner.
Yeah. The assistant commissioner has very few Basically, if I'm indisposed severely, that is where the assistant commissioner
fair enough. Well, hopefully that's
if that's the case, I mean, I hope the tools I've left behind are intuitive enough for assistant commissioner Lawrenson to figure out how to update a database and whatnot. So we'll see about that.
Yeah, fair enough.
But we should get on into it with our NFL news. So some NFL news. Do you want to start off with Michael Thomas? I think
this is Slant Boy, as they call him. He wants out of New Orleans, apparently. It looks like if you did some digging / I saw this on Twitter, but apparently Michael Thomas liked somebody liked a tweet that was basically saying how a theory that last year when Thomas was hurt, the Saints, I think he probably needed surgery on his foot from this injury, and the Saints kind of pressured him not to because they wanted him to be available for their last playoff push with Drew Brees. And I guess now it's to the point where he, the foot's bad still, and the timing of the surgery is not good. And so they're trying to blame him for not being available, right? But also, like, the whole last season, he should have had surgery and they didn't let him. So that sucks for him. But it's just the Saints they have been a They've been a mess and they've just been kicking the can down the road forever and ever until they get to this point where everything falls apart. And now it's starting to happen. So I don't hate to see that. I actually love to see that.
I think overall, just Michael Thomas, he was the same draft class as Laquan Treadwell, right?
Yeah.
And everybody is always making statements about the wasted potential there. Obviously the guy's got some talent. It is just terrible to see, Sean Payton's ego coming back to bite his.
Oh yeah, you really, yeah. I would never. You never want to see that, especially for a guy who's always played the game cleanly, has never tried to cheat the rules or win a game unethically, especially a big important game. You would hate to see something like this happen to a guy that's always been so well respected by everybody, opponents and fans, teammates alike. So I've always respected Sean Payton, and it's just you hate to see this.
We got some more NFL news. So last time we were on the rat hole here, co-host John and I discussed the QB controversies coming out of Green Bay, and now of course we have QB controversies coming out of Minnesota with the vaccination status of the Vikings team leaders, basically around the board, both defense and offense. We talked a little bit about this with Dean last time on the rat hole, and honestly, the sentiment is the same, if not more upset at this point. The Vikings having the lowest vaccination rate in the league is not a great look coming from the Bold North here.
No, and I mean, aside from, obviously aside from football, it sucks. Like, hey, just help everybody out. Get the shot, but from a football sense, it is objectively hurting the team because of the way protocols are, and it's a fact you are less likely to win by having a low vaccination rate. So it's that's what I say about the Vikings. It's always something every year. It's always something with this team, and this year it's probably going to be a 2-week stretch where COVID hits the team. We got to forfeit 2 games. Vikings end up with an 8-9 record, cost them a playoff spot. It's the writing's on the wall already.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that reality. It's going to be, it's just sort of like, we all have, I'm sure, relatives that are just refusing to listen to the science. And
believe me.
I think that this is just sort of the projection of my frustration with loved ones that, like, all right, can't even count on the wealthy people to do it right. Like, this is so frustrating, and just with obviously the rising concern about new variants, and it's just
and it's
a bozo move.
Yeah, it sucks because, like, we get obviously being Vikings fans, that's the most attention, but then Lamar Jackson has now had COVID twice, and he's still saying, well, I'm going to keep throwing some more, and I will do my best to not, get it. And he's, and then Dak Prescott was the same way. Like, it's very common for some reason among quarterbacks, there's like 5 quarterbacks vaccinated in the league or something like that. Jeez, that's probably it. Okay. I don't think it's that loud. It's an exaggeration, but you know what I mean? It just seems like that position in particular is kind of like avoiding it for some reason.
And honestly, like, we're kind of getting down to the wire where, unless they're getting a J&J shot, like, not finishing the treatment of needing 3 or 4 weeks in between shots plus an extra 2 weeks of incubation basically to get that full vaccination. Like, we're already past first season or first week of the season at this point.
Great. It's great.
Wonderful revelations here on the rat hole.
Hey, plexiglass though.
I'll do everything except do the one easy thing to help my team. So give me a plexiglass box that I can stand in.
Because like Kirk's trying to be this whole like he's trying to give off the sentiment that he cares so much about cares so much about winning and trying to give this image off. And he's like, oh, I was gonna build a plexiglass. He was like doing the hand motions thing in the press. I'm gonna build a plexiglass square around me, and nobody's buying any of that. It's like, dude, if you cared about other people, B, winning,
you just do it.
Just get the shot. But
well,
whatever.
Good news is that word on the street is that full FDA approval of the vaccine is coming within the next couple weeks, and hopefully that gets rid of at least some of the hesitations that
I saw the U of M is going to require it once it is approved FDA approved. So
yeah, great news all around. But yeah, we should head on over to Pong Stars League news. Inserts for obviously our John's wonderful jingle.
Perfect.
Yeah, just as a reminder, our keeper date is August 24th. 2 weeks after that is, of course, our draft on September 7th. Is the Tuesday after Labor Day, as described in our Constitution. There was a question in the group chat this past week about when that keeper date is, and when we have to get rid of all of the other players except for those 5 keepers. That is August 25th. If everybody could just go ahead and text me once you lock your keepers, that would just be superb. I can do it manually on Sleeper, and just what you have marked, do it, but just so we can really just keep it clean, so I know exactly who you're keeping and there's no controversy later. That would make my job easier. So let's go ahead and do that. And then obviously draft date 2 weeks after that, Tuesday after Labor Day, in the Constitution. That's a set date. And then we have our Pong Stars weekend, September 10th through the 12th. And I'm very much looking forward to it. It's going to be a great time. Obviously, we're going to have some amount of stand-up comedy in the cities at some point, which is really exciting. And then we're going to have, of course, the 3rd annual Drew Mahowald Birthday Bash Pong Stars Invitational
That's right.
golfing tournament, of which I'm looking at making teams right now. So stay tuned for your scramble partners, and make sure to bring those.
Perfect.
Up. Yeah, it's going to be a great time.
I'm looking forward to it. And last year we were close. We had actually a good match last year. We had that playoff on the chipping green or whatever it was. So
that was really exciting. I'm remembering right now that I had you guys take pictures and videos, and then literally did nothing with them the whole time. Every week I was like, oh, I should work on that. Never did. I'm not going to. I will not be.
Yeah, that's at this point. Yeah. I mean, we got some stuff. Looking back, it was fine, but yeah.
Well, maybe this year.
Probably not.
I'm for sure doing it this year. For sure.
That's excellent radio, excellent audio content right there.
For the image description for those at home, I was shaking my head in the video, shaking it no. I will not be.
Well, while saying yes, that's why it's funny.
Yes, it's good audio humor for the folks in the booth here. All right. Well, in that case, that's all we have for league news. Oh, we did have our second ever 3-way trade. Really exciting
totally
stuff.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, it was certainly something. It was something.
Yeah, that's it. That's all we have to say, I think.
Yeah, I think everybody can read into that how they want.
Also, I got a 1st-round pick from Tony with the exchange of picks in there.
Yeah, that was lucky for you. I wanted that pick very badly, but
I gave up. Now I have a large gap between my first pick and then the end of the 3rd round, but it is what it is.
Yeah, you'll be all right.
I still have a lot of 6th-round picks.
You have
which I'm willing to trade, by the way.
All right, that's great. That's good to know. I'll just take one, just from you,
if you're nice to me.
All right. Oh, well, with that note, let's head on over into the fun fact of the week.
Uh-oh.
All right, Drew. I've been saving this fun fact for
for the listeners, Zach has been like hinting and teasing this fun fact for a while with me now, and so this will be interesting.
I'm very excited to go over this fun fact. I think that it's really an exciting moment for the league. So I want to travel us back to September 22nd, 2020. The day after my birthday, of course, but more importantly, the day that the league had its first real league-shattering trade, in my opinion, where Drew and Noel, Drew traded away Adam Thielen, Alvin Kamara, and J.K. Dobbins, and Noel traded Derrick Henry, Tyreek Hill, Kareem Hunt, a first-rounder, which was Noel's first rounder, which would have been the second overall pick this year, and a 2022 fourth rounder. So that was the big trade that happened. So that happened about week 3, I believe, is where that falls in the schedule there. Mm-hmm. So what I did is I went through and you had 2 weeks with Kamara, basically. What I went through and just wanted to do, there was a meme that's the Sleeper Twitter account posted that was questioning who won or lost their league championship due to Alvin Kamara being on their team.
Oh dear, I already know where this is going, because I remember what happened week 16 last year.
In week 16, for those who don't quite remember, Alvin Kamara scored 54.7 points against the Vikings. That was a league championship week for folks. So what I went through is I took a hypothetical scenario where that trade went through, except Kamara and Derrick Henry didn't trade spots. So Drew Mahowald, Alvin Kamara the entire season, Derrick Henry for Noel the entire season. And went through and did a compare and contrast here. Just inserting Kamara every week that Kamara was available, except for week 6 where he was on bye, where I inserted what I assumed would have been the pick, which was Cooper Kupp, who didn't play well that week. That was also the week you had your lowest scoring week anyways, so it didn't matter. But in the normal season where this trade went through, Drew went 8-5. Ended up being the 3rd seed, I believe.
Yeah.
In this scenario where he got to keep Alvin Kamara, Drew actually lost one more game as a result of this, went 7-6. He still would have made playoffs. In this scenario, he would have faced me in round 1 as a result of this reseeding, where he would have beaten me 142.22 to 128.12 in round 1. In round 2, as a result of this reseeding, he would have faced off against Josh, and he would have won the game 103.86 to 103.82. Which means that
400 of a point.
Yeah. In week 16, he would have faced off against John, where due to Kamara, he would have scored 168.82 points to John's 154.9 points, winning the league championship.
Okay.
That's the fun fact of the week.
I cannot believe you did the work to find all that out.
Oh, I had to. I had to do the work to find this out. I knew you would be on the program eventually, and I wanted to really drop this that in this scenario, you could have had a carrot pin.
You know what else could have happened is Josh Allen could have not thrown a touchdown in his last pass of the season.
He could have, but why would he want to do that? That doesn't sound very fun.
Because the game was like a 40-10 game anyway.
He was just out there for me. I tweeted from the account that Josh Allen needed however many points. And he's like, all right, I can do that. And then I'll pull myself.
Or Tony could have just kept Josh Allen.
Or Tony could have kept Josh Allen over Drew Brees.
Drew ass Brees.
Thanks, Tony, for that. I don't know if I've said that enough times.
Like, imagine Tony with Josh Allen and Diggs as like that duo.
Tony would have made playoffs with that duo.
Oh, he would have potentially won.
Yeah, full stop. Tony is John and I really went on a rant about Tony last week. But
I know we want to give him praise, but he still kept Drew Brees over Josh Allen, and it literally cost me a championship. So,
so I appreciate it. Thanks, Tony. It was real good. But anyways, that was a fun fact. Hope you all
not so fun
enjoyed
fact.
It. Should I have done this if that whole trade didn't go through? Yeah, probably should have, switched Thielen and Hill back, but I didn't want to do that because this was about Kamara. So good times. But anyways, this week, Drew and I want to just sit down here and talk about where we see the real needs coming for people in the draft this year. And just looking at previous year's data and trying to identify where the biggest gaps are in any player's lineup here. So we're just going to go through in draft order. We're going to start with Lucas here. And just based off of what people have set so far as keepers and just historically sort of looking at their team, where we see they're going. So having looked at Lucas's lineup here, I'm actually surprised at how okay I am with his set of keepers. It still needs some work, and he still doesn't have a lot of draft capital. I think his first pick is the 3-6 spot, which isn't great, obviously not wonderful, but here we are anyways. And my gut is telling me that just historically, given Saquon's penchant for injuries, is that Lucas's draft is definitely going to need some strong running backs, if possible, if he can get them where he's at.
Yeah, I will say though, Darrell Henderson suddenly has a bunch of value now.
Yes.
With Kakers, my guy, hate to see that. But between Saquon, Kittle, Thielen, Henderson, that's a 4 actually very good keepers to have going into the season. So for him, it'll be a question of, like you said, with any position, running backs for anybody, the injury thing is a risk. But then I think finding a second receiver opposite Thielen there, and maybe it's keeping Ayuk and seeing if the Niners can get him involved as potentially a number 1 guy. There's that option there. Otherwise, it's probably going to be finding a guy, and there's plenty of receivers out there that'll be dropped by teams that could end up being viable.
Yeah,
number 2 guys
for sure. Just historically, last year I should say, 26 2/3% of Lucas's score came from the receiver position, versus 22% from the running back, and 15.26 from the quarterback position. That is pretty low, I will say, on the quarterback side, compared to sort of the rest of the teams.
He dominated the kicker position, so
he did dominate the kicker position. That is extremely true.
So maybe he's keeping Young Waku.
I mean, there are worse things.
He does have Jordan Love. That would be worse.
Yeah. But yeah, Lucas is, he knows what he's got to do. He actually didn't have the lowest percentage of points from the quarterback position in the league. That goes to John.
Because Russ had 8 points a week.
Yeah, well, and John had an abundance of points in every other category that just really overpowered. But anyways, that's Lucas. I'm still sticking with wide receiver with running back, because he's going to need it in the event that either one of those boys get injured. But we'll see. Let's head on over to Noel, though. Noel is next, surprisingly drafting from the 2nd spot this year, managed to get his first round pick back, despite trading it away early last September. He's got a key set of running backs here. He's got McCaffrey. He's got Jonathan Taylor. Joe Mixon is also there. And then obviously DK Metcalf is going to be a keeper. But with Michael Thomas's shenanigans, I think
you can't keep him.
I don't think that Michael Thomas is
probably going to be Odell, which is not a bad consolation. But I mean, honestly, his keepers are pretty damn solid.
Yeah.
Which was the case last year, and that went wrong for a number of reasons. But yeah, I think if he just finds a consistent quarterback for sure, which maybe, I mean, there's going to be a bunch out there. So finding a consistent quarterback and then some depth really is all he needs. But he's got the keepers he needs to be a lethal force once again. So
yeah, I mean, Noel did trade away Dak Prescott for Odell last year after both of them were out.
Well, I think he's employing the strategy of not keeping a quarterback and sort of just winging it and trying to find one, which good and bad. I think the truly elite quarterbacks are worth keeping, and I would feel like healthy Dak might fall into that category.
Yeah.
But, you know, that Dak does have his own concerns with injury right now. And that's when we get to Swan, that's another discussion we'll have here.
Yeah. I mean, there will definitely be quarterbacks on the draft board available for picking. I mean, just looking at Brennan's got, you know, two potentially
two of the elite quarterbacks, ones, right?
So one of them for sure will be available, most likely at that 102 spot, and we'll see what when Noel does. But my guess is he's going receiver based off of this team.
Yeah, and like I said, there's going to be, based on just the breakdown in the league, there's going to be a ton of solid receivers that are going to have to be cut from teams just because of the balance, right? There's way more good contributing receivers for fantasy football than there are running backs right now.
Absolutely. All right. Moving on to spot number 3 here, though. We have Thomas, the tight end, Strawn.
I think he really needs to add some tight ends.
I would agree with that for sure. Right now, at least what's showing on the screen right now is that 2 tight ends are in keeper slots for this team. We have Travis Kelce and Mark Andrews.
Yeah.
We have 1 receiver, Keenan Allen, a quarterback in Thomas Brady, and then we have Ronald Jones as the running back being here.
So running back for sure.
Yeah.
He might have to draft his first 6 picks running backs,
and leave those receiver positions wide open.
I don't know. Yeah,
this is a tough situation to be in.
He does have the tightest of ends, though.
He does have the tightest of ends. I think I'm going to agree. It's got to be running back heavy draft here from Thomas.
Also, I do wonder now if, in hindsight, maybe or still maybe now, if some team wanted to. Well, it's too late now, obviously, but if you could have, he probably at some point in the offseason could have traded Watson for something.
Could have tried.
Obviously too late now, probably, but
yeah, that's true. Tom Brady could get switched out for Watson in this keeper spot
if things get resolved in the next 2 whatever weeks. But
yeah, that'll be a tough pick for Thomas. But I will say that he could probably pick up Tom Brady. He does have more picks than he has roster spots right now, so he could probably get Brady back if he really wanted to. But
he does he does have some picks.
Yeah,
3 in the third. He's got the first 3 picks of the 3rd round.
Yeah.
He'll have 5 picks done by the 3rd pick in the 3rd round. So he's sitting well there.
Yeah, exactly. I think he's got the capital. We'll just have to see how he uses it, probably on running backs. All right. Next up, Tony Townsend, drafting from the 4th spot. Picks all over the board. But he's actually got a really young set of keepers here, which we know he was going for during all of last season. Oldest guy on here, Stephon Diggs, and then a whole bunch of rookies. We got DeAndre Swift, Justin Jefferson, J.K. Dobbins, and Clyde,
and Herbert,
and Herbert also as
a bunch of guys, a bunch of rookies from last year. Which, I mean, it's a radical strategy, but it we got a lot of grief for it, but it did work out for him. He set up really nicely. Now, I don't think all these guys are going to pan out that well. Like obviously Clyde had a bunch of hype and that wasn't spectacular last year, but that Jefferson Diggs duo is set up to be really nice for a long time. And if Herbert continues to be on the Chargers where he gets a crap ton of pass attempts every week, also going to be a good fantasy quarterback.
Yeah. I think that just given his draft capital here, 3 picks in the first round still, I think he's set up well to get a running back and a receiver. If I am him, I'm taking a receiver with that first spot, just given this breakdown. You got 3 young running backs already that you're going to have a hard time not starting week to week. And then you only have 2 receivers right now. So then when bye weeks come along, got to add some depth there. That's my guess is that first pick is going to be a receiver off the board.
Especially yeah, you're right. I'm just thinking in terms of keeper. Because like if he were to keep Herbert, maybe he, I think that's a very strong possibility that he keeps Herbert over one of those running backs.
And then in that case, maybe it is a running back, but he does have, Noel's not going to be most likely, probably not going to be drafting a running back with his first pick, given his analysis. And then Thomas probably will. But Tony does have the 4th pick as well as the first pick. So he'll have a little bit of strategy there to see if he can let one more slide before it gets to my 2 picks in the 5th and 6th spot.
Yeah. So you got, so the gluten freaks, you got, I'm just gonna bring up your team right now.
Hold on, we got to talk about Brennan. We're jumping.
Oh, I thought you were 5. Okay.
No, I have Brennan's pick, which is why it is goofing.
Okay. Well, whatever.
Got to talk Brennan. Brennan Swan, big man, B Swan.
The spring chickens.
The spring chickens only has 1 keeper selected so far. Dalvin Cook refuses
Tough one.
Yeah, refuses to update his keepers.
Can't believe he hasn't traded him yet.
He's got either.
He's got Dalvin. He's got Carson, CeeDee Lamb, and also that decision with Dak. For sure, trade Dak.
Rodgers.
Trade Dak for literally anything, or Rodgers for literally anything if you're going to not keep him, because getting something is better than getting nothing, right?
You would think.
Yes. I think that receiving core could be bolstered a little bit.
I was going to go receivers for Brennan, personally. Yeah. We got Woods, Lamb, Landry, Galladay, Claypool.
A bunch of kind of like
bunch of wide receiver 2s. That's what it is. It's a bunch of wide receiver 2s. He's not going to be able to get a first round pick receiver. And his first pick is the 2-6. But I think that if I'm Brennan, I'm looking at this squad and going, all right, I got to find a guy that is going to be a top talent on a team, a more reliable guy.
Yeah.
Woods has a new quarterback situation, so he'll definitely get a value bump, I think, from Stafford. But Lamb is going to have a lot of competition for targets. Landry against Odell and Baker still not having. I still don't trust Baker Mayfield, especially with Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb there to take carries and just run the ball down people's throats. Galladay is hurt all the time. Claypool drops passes. I don't know. Receivers for Brennan is my prescription.
Yeah. No, I think if he were to get somehow, some way, field himself a top receiver, he'd be more formidable than he appears to be now.
I would agree with you. All right. Let's talk here about my team.
Your team starts to look like my team looked at some point last year. You got all my players.
I do.
Eckler, Cooper Kupp, Montgomery.
It's a great time over here.
Yeah, I'd Josh Allen, man.
Obviously I'm keeping Josh Allen. Right. Josh Allen is a keeper level quarterback.
Yeah, so just give me the keepers right now that you're thinking.
Obviously, of course. It's already in there. Anybody can go in and look on the draft board and see who people are have marked as keepers. But
I can do it that way. Okay, I didn't see that.
Yeah, if you click on go into the draft room and then scroll on the bottom, perfect. You can see who people have selected as keepers already. Um, But we got DeAndre Hopkins, Julio Jones, Eckler, Montgomery after that trade, and then Josh Allen is the starting five right now. I don't really know if I'm worried about the running backs, but I'm also worried about the receivers with the age of and vaccination status of my receivers. Compared to I think some really great potential from running backs, even though they are not. I don't think either one of them are necessarily a stud workhorse back yet. But that could change this year. I don't know. I'm still debating on where it is here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a ton of potential there for Julio in Tennessee. I think that offense could be really, really good.
Yes.
So I like that. Obviously, Hopkins, when healthy, went on the field. Cardinals offense is another one that could really pop off at any moment. Josh Allen's, he and Mahomes probably the two most valuable assets to have in a keeper league right now for fantasy football. And Eckler Montgomery, the reason I traded Montgomery is because I feel like his usage is going to go down this year. Tariq Cohen coming back. They brought in Damian Williams from Kansas City. But Eckler with that offense too catches 7 balls a game. Always going to be a threat to put up 20, 30 points.
Yeah. I traded away Josh Jacobs for the same reason. I think you traded away Montgomery. I have a little bit more faith Montgomery can outwork Cohen and
which
Williams
I do believe.
Drake.
I do believe Montgomery over Jacobs for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, Sam. I hope he plays well for you over there.
No, you don't.
Well, not on every week. You're not playing me.
I don't even wish that.
All right, let's talk Josh here. Josh Polingo, drafting from the 7th spot here, has his keepers marked in here. He's been adamant in the chat recently about wanting to trade for a better RB2. Right now, Leonard Fournette is in there, but I'm gonna go out on a limb here and actually switch it up. That running back is not going to be the first issue on this team this year. I'm calling receivers is going to be a bigger problem.
Really, because I still love his tandem there at receiver.
Godwin and AJ Brown.
Well, the problem with both those guys is they're fighting other players for targets. But
exactly.
I think Elliott will bounce back pretty well this year in Dallas, is assuming everybody's healthy enough to play that offense. I'll get back to what we expect. So, and then of course Lamar. The concern is is he on the field? Obviously, having had COVID twice, he's probably going to be okay. But
you would hope. But there was a question. Some insider information on whether or not I would rather have Lamar or Allen right now, and the answer came back Josh Allen, which is shocking.
Oh yeah, I would agree.
A year ago is so. Yeah. Growth and character development is really important here at the Rathole. But I think going back to my point about receivers, Godwin competing with Mike Evans and Antonio Brown, AJ Brown now competing with Julio Jones for targets, I think potentially could open either of them up, but also volume share of those targets is going to be an issue for both these guys.
Yeah, well, and then one thing too. So I'm trying to look at what do we got here for keepers and whatnot. So, I do see the potential here if Josh wanted to trade for an RB2 as of right now. Antonio Gibson is not being kept by John, and so that would be a possibility there if Josh really wanted to. It seems like that would make a lot of sense for some trade talks there. But I'm not. I'm just a guy.
You're just
observing from a distance.
Yeah,
I'm not recommending it, but I kind of am.
Yeah, I think there's a high price on Giblet right now.
Well, I mean, to a point though, because John, if he's not gonna, if you're not gonna keep him, you got to get something for him. Like
you would think,
if you keep the price too high and then you end up not getting anything for him, then it's just a waste, So he, at some point, John has to drop that price down if he's gonna get something for him, because the way I understand it is if he keeps the price too high, doesn't get a deal done, then he just gets nothing for Gibson.
Exactly. And there's no way Gibson is going to be back to John by the time the 2-1 comes around. I'll tell you that right now.
Right. So as of right now, Gibson would be a top 5 minimum draft pick, I think.
Yeah.
So
I think so too. Let's talk about your team though, and your nightmare of a draft board that I'm looking at. Just scattered throughout the entire.
Because all my picks are all over the place.
All your picks are not in your column. You have 2 picks in your column, and 1 just got traded back to you today. This is outrageous.
Where's my other one?
The 10th round. You have your first round pick that just got traded back, and then the 10th.
Oh,
you even traded your 6th round pick away. All right, this is outrageous.
This is perfect. That's great.
Yeah. All right, let's put it out there. Obviously, we're going running back. I think in your situation, your set of receivers is now spectacular. Mike Evans, Amari Cooper.
I know there are some injury concerns with Cooper. It's kind of, I'm taking a bit of a risk there, both with Dak, but also Amari himself, both needing to get healthy. But I do think that offense could be big time fantasy this year if they're all back and healthy. So I love that idea. Very glad I was able to get him from Sam, and for some reason Sam wanted to not keep Amari Cooper, and I was like, I'm not letting that happen. So
yeah,
I'm taking Amari Cooper from you, and if it takes Montgomery, that's fine.
Hey, I'm pumped for Montgomery, so I'm happy that we were able to work that deal out. But I think my one concern for your team in this situation, it's still running back, obviously, that you're going to need for this draft here. Mike Evans, Amari Cooper, both in offenses with 3 really good receivers.
Yeah.
And again, that volume share that I talked about sort of on Josh's team as well. I think that those are potential concerns.
Yeah.
But I also think that Tyreek Hill has proved that he is more boom than bust at this point. So
I think I would say Evans and Cooper are both going to be your boomer bust guys, where they can both put up 30 points in a week, or they can put up 2. But Tyreek Hill last year was so consistent that I at least have that going for me, where I know I can get 15 to 20 from Tyreek every week minimum.
Yeah. No, that was a great trade for Henry and Hill last year.
Yeah.
Long pause for fun fact.
Losing by 2 points in the championship.
You might not have made it there though without Tyreek.
That's true. Tyreek was huge, actually.
Yeah. No kidding. All right, we got 2.
Actually, he's a small person. He's pretty small.
But he's very speedy.
Yeah. He's not huge though. He's small.
I got it. Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah, I got it. Hey, don't worry, I got it. All right, we have Sammer's team, the Sam squad, the Google.
Okay, I'm actually seeing Sam's team for the first time, and I don't. No, Ridley's going to be good. Fuller. I don't know about Fuller. Kyler Murray obviously can be really good, but his running backs I really don't like.
Yeah, I think
Jacob's stock is plummeting.
Yeah, there's a reason
stock is plummeting.
And it's the whole my relationship with Kenyon Drake and Josh Jacobs in the last year has changed so drastically with both of them that I'm on the same
team now.
They are on the same team, but they are no longer on my team.
Yes,
and that
for
is
reasons
by design. I think Sam coming back to sort of where he was last year, that 37% of Sam's points in the 2020 season came from the receiver position, which I don't think is sustainable.
I think most of those were Will Fuller when he randomly started them and put up like 50.
Yeah, and it was a lot of Will Fuller. I think Will Fuller is getting a keep here. I am surprised.
There's no Cortland Sutton
to get rid of Amari Cooper and keep Will Fuller, and then no Cortland.
I was so startled by that.
I know. I was in the Zoom.
If Cooper has a big season, I will be making a mockery of Sam Olsen all year long.
Well, I there's only one scenario in which the two of us are happy, and it's Josh Jacobs performing poorly and everybody else meeting expectations.
which I fully expect that to happen because Josh
I-
Jacobs is going to be fighting for time with Kenyon Drake, which is, by the way, the Raiders made a hideous move to sign Kenyon Drake.
The Raiders are bozos, and they wouldn't pass the ball to the running back. Checked out. I can't.
Yeah.
I'm supremely
Jacobs'
happy.
stock is going way down. Kamara's stock is going way down.
Yeah.
Phil Fuller's stock is way down. Good luck, Sam.
All right, you making the call for receiver or running backs, do you think?
I mean, if I'm him, I'm going after running backs because at least you have one guy that I trust at receiver with Ridley. I think Kamara is going to turn into Le'Veon Bell with the Jets.
Oh God,
I think it's going to be that bad.
That's a nightmare scenario.
I think the Saints are going to be that bad.
We can hope.
As a team, they won't be that bad, but like the running back production that Bell got from the Jets will be that bad with the Kamara here because like it's going to be Taysom Hill or Jameis Winston, one of the two. Neither one's good for running back fantasy points. So
nope. It's certainly going to be interesting. All right, we got John Stevens coming in last. First pick, the 201. A very solid set of keepers selected so far.
So if I gotta say, I really think I shouldn't be giving advice.
You shouldn't.
But suspect decision to keep Miles Sanders over Gibson. IMO.
You want to make that take again? We can cut out that great advice.
I mean, I suppose I shouldn't be giving advice, so I won't. But I just did. But it was cut out. I don't know if it's cut out or not. I'll leave that to the commissioner. But anyway, I mean, John can go any direction. Obviously, he needs to pick a quarterback now and get a quarterback on his team. But he's, in my opinion, the favorite to win the league this year.
I think it was a bit of buzzard luck that kept him from the championship game last year, and just really, really performing poorly.
I will say, I think I got into his head a little bit last year, and maybe he won't admit this, and maybe I'm actually way off base, but we had a lot of talk about how the COVID stuff, and he had 3 guys from the same team on his roster, and we saw what happened with teams when, like the Steelers and the Titans, when they'd have a game that was, rescheduled, whatever. Then if you have 3 guys from the same team, that's your entire freaking roster that you have to make up spots for. And I remember that was a big thing for me, was trying to not have that issue, or just pray to God that with Mahomes and Hill, they'd not have that problem all year. But I think that maybe he for sure figured that out, and that was I would imagine that was the key risk of him in trading one of those Packers away.
Yeah, I fully agree. I think honestly, this is the first time I'm going to call it in this. I think that John's going to have to go tight end first. There
will be options.
There will be an abundance of options. I think that, quite frankly, on a different
I don't hate
team,
that either.
Darren Waller would be in a keeper slot right now.
Yes.
On a different team in this league.
Absolutely.
Several different teams. I mean, we have I think 3 tight ends being kept right now, and they're the 1, 2, and 4 tight ends, with Waller being the number 3 out there. I wouldn't hate the 201 being a Darren Waller pick. That's all I'm going to say.
I don't think Waller make it there, to be honest. How about this? I can confirm that he won't make it there.
Right. I wasn't going to be that explicit, but
I have the 8th pick. I have the 8th pick, and I will probably pick Waller if he's there.
You're picking Pitts. I already know it.
Well, that too. That's another option.
That's a great option. But anyways, that's our expert analysis here, folks, for where we think people are going to have to be making those first picks. If you got any thoughts on that, of course, feel free to tweet at us at FFL Pong. We'd love to get some discussion going on the Twitter. See what people think coming into what are we, like 2 weeks now from keeper deadline? Yeah, when this comes out, it'll be 2 weeks from keeper deadline, I think. So
more or less.
More or less. Yeah, I think actually I said the 25th earlier. It's the 24th. Actually, that's the keeper deadline.
It's probably important to update the league on that. It seems like something that you should make sure is correct, that everybody's on the same page for.
2 weeks before. I will verify that. I've said that correctly. 2 weeks before the draft date, which is September 7th. So it would be August 24th. Glad that we redid it. Good take, everybody. No, that'll be in the group chat. I'll make sure that we're communicating that out to people as we go. So, all right, folks, that's all we have. Drew Mahowald, any last thoughts on the season finale of The Bachelorette before we head out?
Good for Katie. That's her name, right?
Yeah,
good
Katie. Katie did great. Obviously, we're happy for her and Blake.
Blake, yes, of course.
Well, of course. And we all love Aunt Lindsay, and that's what it comes down to. So,
agreed, yes, for sure.
All right, folks, we'll catch you next time.